What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? Salute to everybody who is in the chat. Let's see, who do we have here so far? Gnome King, Darlene, what's going on? Let's see, Chris, Sephora, Marcus B1, Jerome, what's going on? What's going on? Make sure y'all go ahead and share this. I'm about to do that right now. As y'all can see, I'm streaming back again on Streamlabs. You know, I tested it out with the software that came with my my computer last week, but it was having some technical issues. So I said, let me go back to using Streamlabs. So I think I'm gonna go back to using Streamlabs more often. And that's something I was starting off using before when I really started getting into the live streaming type of thing. But because it wasn't so powerful on my laptop, I had stopped using it and using StreamYards. But now that I have a PC that's more powerful and can hold, you know, doing something like this in the transition so well, I'm doing this version of it. But please make sure y'all go ahead and share the stream. I'm doing that right now, so if it's comments coming through, I can't see it at the moment. Let's see who else. Okay, we got some more people in here. What's going on? Kari, Gemini, Queen of Spades, Andre Carswell, AB Media, Alana. Shout out to Alana. Shout out to the UK. OG Swag, Miss Yo Queen, Maximus, Royalty, John Boy, Mark, Yolanda. I was getting ready to shout out the Streamlabs bot. What's going on? What is going on? Dark Visitor, what's up? We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. And some stuff I couldn't even fit onto the thumbnail because it was news that came out like after I made it, was like yesterday or something like that. But we're going to get to it though. This has been a very eventful week, as many weeks has been for the last few months. 2020 as a whole has been an eventful year. It's been a lot going on, a lot. But we made it. We're making it. We only got 2 more months to go and one major event left before that happens, and we all know what that is. I don't know why my chat is not coming up on the screen. So if I'm looking down a lot, it's because I'm looking at the chat on my phone. Let's see, who else do we have here? Oh, appreciate the super chat, Ernest. Let's see, we have Tony. What's going on? Pinky, Janesta, Claudia. Just be glad you're not like that, Claudia Jordan. Telma, Queen of Spades. What's going on? What's going on? I'm probably get started at 4:05, and then we'll go from there. I just don't know why my chat box is not coming up, because it should be right there. But that's fine. We'll do what we can. Oh, there it is. What kind of delay is this? Okay, there it is. Now I see it came up on the screen finally. Ashton, yeah, election day is going to be a mess. It's going to be a madhouse for sure. Good, I have it on my screen. Now I can pay attention to the screen and not so much at my phone, unless I need to go online and look up something, which I most likely will. Let's see who else we got. So far, we got the remainder of October, November, and December. Yep. But like I said, that election is going to be something interesting. Let's see, who else do we have here? What's going on, Barbara? What's going on, Little Miss Firecracker? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. It is currently 4:05, so I'm going to get started with this. Oh, this is a topic. Well, it doesn't. It's something I just kind of threw in there. Who, because I actually posted it up on my community tab. Who watched the stream that me and the one LVZ did going in on those peasants disguised as queens the other day, who was going in mob mentality style on Ice Cube when he was trying to give his plan, his CWBA plan. Because me and him went in on them for like over an hour. And if y'all missed it, y'all missed quite a show. But I posted the link of the playback in my community tab. Those individuals, I can't even almost bring myself to call them women. Or a piece of work and a piece of something else too. But we pretty much broke down that entire thing, and a lot of black men and even some black women. Shout out to Kendra, the Crimson Cure. I don't know if she's in here or not. Talked about that ridiculous display of debauchery, and we said that was worse than when he went on the Roland Martin show. Appreciate you, Black Voltron, for the super chat. And shout out to West Oakland. Well, if y'all haven't seen it, the link is posted up in my community tab. It's not that far down. It's probably like 2 days old. So if you go to my community tab, you can scroll down and you can pretty much you can find it. But shout out to everybody who did, I guess you could say, a response style or reaction style video to that foolishness. The one thing about that, the voice when it comes to the robot, whenever they start reading off the meme, it's funny because they read off the skin tone of the meme. But appreciate you, Black Voltron. Yes, Vivica was the worst. She was the absolute worst up there. What did I tell y'all? Never trust a woman with a crooked wig. And all them wigs was crooked. Like, he had the patience of a Buddhist monk sitting up there talking to them. He had more patience than most would have. More power to him. But that just shows you right there, he's getting to him. Exactly, Gemini. He said he shut them down when he asks why they won't help him. And that's the only time I saw Vivica move forward in her seat. And she started wagging her finger around doing the whole sister girl routine. Darby said my chat is behind mine. It probably is a delay. I'm seeing mine in real time. So it might be a slight delay. Gemini said more patience. Most definitely. That would be an interesting discussion though to see him go against him. But to be honest, I doubt he would do it. But yeah, if y'all haven't checked that out, go over to my community tab and just scroll down a little bit more. What I'll probably may do is after this stream is over, I'll post the link again in the community tab, and then that way you can see it right there at the top and y'all can go and watch it. The next thing I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't throw it up here as far as a visual. Don't worry, the visuals are coming. The visuals are coming after this topic. And that is Derek Chauvin. So, in case y'all haven't heard, Derek Chauvin had the 3rd-degree murder charges that were put against him yesterday. Well, not put against him yesterday, but put on him. They were dropped yesterday. Jerome, you pretty much jumped the gun. As soon as I started talking about him, you just asked the question. But yeah, he had the judge in the case dropped the 3rd-degree murder charges. And I feel like I was one of the few black people on Twitter that did not panic. Like, I had to calm a lot of my followers down when I found out about that. And I said, wait a minute, y'all getting scared because they dropped the lowball charge. Y'all do know third degree comes after second degree. So basically, if y'all don't know how it works, third degree or murder in the third degree means that he, in the process of murdering somebody, but also put other people's lives in danger. Now, if he was, say, example was he was in the process of murdering George Floyd and he started pointing his gun at the bystanders, then we could see the third degree charge is still sticking. But he wasn't. They said that he was not putting. They said that he wasn't putting their lives in danger. So don't see it necessarily as a bad thing. Now, if they drop the second degree murder and second degree manslaughter, then I can see the outrage. But the second degree murder and second degree manslaughter are still attached. You do realize that if he was to just get third degree, he could only get up to 25 years in prison. But with the second degree murder charge, that's what, up to 40 years. And I don't know how much the second degree manslaughter is, but that's more years. And you got to also add on the fact he has fraud charges still attached to him and his wife. So they get found guilty of that. That's more years coming his way, even though that's for a separate crime. So when I had to calm one of my followers down yesterday because she was about to get upset, I said, don't panic. They only dropped the lowball charges because they wanted them to focus on that. They didn't want the jury to have an option to go lower. At least that's how I see it. Because they could have had the option to say, well, we're not going to go for second degree. We're going to go for murder in the third. And just be glad that they didn't attach first degree murder charges there, because we know that wouldn't have stuck, because they would have had to prove without a shadow of a doubt that he woke up that day with the intent to go find George Floyd and kill him. And that would be very hard to prove. So they didn't do first degree. They took away the third degree to focus on second degree. I think they said second degree unintentional murder with second degree manslaughter attached. And that's what they want the jury to focus on. So there's no chance for them to go around that and go for a lower charge. 25 minimum, that would be if he had third degree. If he gets found guilty of second degree murder and second degree manslaughter, he's damn near getting life. He might as well. Barbara, he says he was upset until someone explained it to me. He said, yeah. I said, don't panic. That's why do you think when that news came out yesterday that it didn't trend on Twitter? It didn't trend. Because even they knew they was dropping lowball charges. No one really was up in arms about it because it wasn't really nothing to get mad over. It's actually, in a way, kind of a good thing. But now that means that his team, Derek Chauvin's team, as well as the team that's on the side of George Floyd and his family, are going to have to work really hard to prove and convince the jury. Well, the attorneys for George Floyd are going to have to work hard to convince the people or the jury that that Derek Chauvin murdered this man in the second degree. And his team is going to have to convince the jury that he didn't. Because, they kept saying, oh, he didn't die from the knee on the neck. It was because he had opioids in his system and all types of stuff like that, because that's what the autopsy came back with. Although a private autopsy was done by the family that said he died by asphyxiation, which is strangulation. And even another autopsy said the same thing. But they also came out and said that he had drugs in his system. So I think that's going to be the hurdle that the attorneys for George Floyd are going to have to really convince the jury of not accepting. And that too, Gwendolyn, is all on tape. That's a huge piece of evidence right there. And see, the thing is, the whole world rallied behind this. It was a global phenomenon in a way. So it's going to be hard to find an unbiased jury pool. They're probably going to ask them, did you have any type of emotional connection to this situation? Some might lie. They might have to hook them up to a polygraph machine to see if they're lying. But yeah, it was a lot of emotions attached to this. And like I said, it sparked a worldwide protest, which is something we've probably never seen before. But shout out to everybody that's coming through. Make sure y'all hit that like and make sure y'all share and donate. So now that we have taken care of that, I'm going to go on to the first main topic. And that is Michael B. Jordan being the producer of the new Static Shock movie. How many of you have heard about this? Listen, as a kid growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, Saturday mornings belonged to me, Kids WB, and I was a faithful watcher of Static Shock. So they're finally going to be making a live action version of this movie, and that's it, of this show, of this comic. And I've been saying for the longest that Static Shock or Static needed a movie. I didn't even know that the comic was younger than me. The Static comic, who was created by Dwayne McDuffie, and RIP to him, and Milestone Comics, was created in 1993. So I'm older than it by about 4 years. So this is going to be very interesting to see because I was a huge fan of the show, and I liked how it dealt with realism as far as how black people were. It added an element to everyday average black society while throwing a superhero twist to it. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see. And it's interesting, because Michael B. Jordan is producing it. He does have his own production company, in case y'all didn't know. He has his hands in pretty much a lot of things outside of him just being an actor, which is very interesting. What would be dope is if they somehow incorporate the theme song into the show. They don't have to have maybe the same exact theme, but maybe if we kind of hear it in the background a little bit, because I thought the theme song was dope as well. But it was definitely a good show, and I can't wait to see what direction they go with it with this film when he comes out with it. You said we need a Black Lightning and Luke Cage movie. Well, they already have a show, a live action show. Well, Luke Cage did, but it got canceled off of Netflix along with the other Marvel shows. And Black Lightning is still currently on the CW. And I think they want to start with Static because, I think he was more popular. Not saying the others weren't, but he was more popular amongst a younger generation. So we shall see where this goes because I am very interested in seeing how this will play out. And something tells me it might have that same feel and that same well I don't know, it could and it couldn't. It might have that same effect as how Black Panther did. How when Black Panther came out, it became a global phenomenon and it became a big deal. So I kind of hope that it has that same type of thing with this one as well. And I think it might actually that might actually happen. But shout out to Michael B. Jordan and his production company and him working on this film. I'm curious as to who they're going to cast to play him. And one thing before I go on to the next topic that I liked about Static is the father-son element. That was something that was lacking a lot in a lot of TV shows post-Cosby. But to put it into an animated series was amazing because, as you know, he lived with his sister and his dad. His mother had passed, and he was raising them basically as a single father. And I like that, this was an everyday black man who had a job, and he was, taking care of his kids. And that was something that often gets overlooked because of the, everything going on in the show. So I hope that they really incorporate that heavily into the movie. But moving on to the next topic, another bit of good news. Another actor, Wendell Pierce, a phenomenal, an amazing actor that does not get enough credit outside of shows like The Wire. And for those women out there who watched Waiting to Exhale. And some other things. But Wendell Pierce has confirmed that he will be portraying the legendary icon, B.B. King. When I found this out, I said, yes. Yes. First off, great casting. Great casting. Because I can see the resemblance between the two of them. And also, he had stated that if they ever had made a movie about B.B. King's life, that just don't look any further, don't look for anybody else. I'm right here. I'm going to do it. He says, I'm going to play him. And he got it. He confirmed it a few days ago. And he will be portraying B.B. King in an upcoming biopic about him. It's still in the early stages right now. I don't even think they started producing anything yet, or filming anything. So they're still probably in the casting phase. And I'm interested to see this because I'm not going to say I wasn't a fan of B.B. King because I heard of him, but I wasn't all into his life like that. So I think it's interesting that they're doing this. And I'm glad that they're doing it on, an icon that a lot of people don't talk about. One memory I do have of B.B. King, however, as a kid, was when he was on an episode of Fresh Prince. And I'm laughing thinking about it. And it was the one where Carlton was nervous about getting this scholarship or something for college, and he didn't want to go because Carlton was an overachiever and he didn't want to go, so he ended up going to this bar, and B.B. King was right there, and he was the jazz player, like he was the blues player, and he was just sitting there playing the music, and every time Will would say a sentence and he could hear it, he started playing another chord and then singing the words in which Will was saying it. And I think his name was on the episode was Pappy. He said when he was talking to Carlton, he said, "Pappy, why don't you go take a nappy?" That was so funny to me. But that's one of the few memories I have of seeing him, at least in mainstream media. So that's going to be very interesting to see, and I'm sure he's going to knock that out of the park because, like I said, Wendell Pierce is a very good actor who doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. And of course, a lot of people are going to be excited because he's an American-born black man, and they're not getting someone from across the pond to play this man. So that's always a very good thing. Now let's get into it. We got the good news out of the way. Let's get to this. Y'all know who this old decrepit individual is right here. None other than the crypt keeping looking half past dead Rush Limbaugh. Now, I didn't strike up the violence for him, and I'm not doing it today. But just know, based on what he has stated in recent time, that it's coming. Now, at the beginning of the year, before the woo-woo hit, he had announced to the world that he had got diagnosed with advanced lung cancer? I think that's what it was. I think he was diagnosed with advanced lung cancer. And I had did a triple P for him then when it got announced. Well, this week he announced that, in so many words, his time is almost up. He said that the cancer is like literally kicking his ass right now. I said, well, when that time comes, pull out that little violin and that will be that. And I want to, let me see if I can find it, because I specifically took a screenshot of some quotes that came from Rush Limbaugh, and why people act as if we are supposed to care about him and his health, and we don't. So if palm colored people out there who love Rush Limbaugh so much want to know why black people don't, well, let me read to you a few quotes as to why that is. And shout out to Neo Panther for gathering these quotes. Here's one. Look, let me put it to you this way. The NFL all too often looks like a game between Bloods and Crips without any weapons. There, I said it. Next quote. And this was to an African American female caller. Take that bone out of your nose and call me back. He says the NAACP should have riot rehearsal. They should get a liquor store and practice robberies. He says, I think the media has been very desirous that a black quarterback do well. They're interested in black coaches and black quarterbacks doing well. I think there's a little hope invested in McNabb. He's talking about Donovan McNabb. And he got a lot of credit for the performance of his team that he really didn't deserve. Obama's entire economic program is reparations. You know who deserves a posthumous Medal of Honor? James Earl Ray, the person who confessed to assassinating Martin Luther King. We miss you, James. Godspeed. And the last quote, but definitely not the least of the bunch. Let the unskilled jobs that take absolutely no knowledge whatsoever to do. Let stupid and unskilled Mexicans do that work. Now, y'all want to know, ask us why we won't miss him when he's gone? There you go. That's why. And shout out to Gold Professor for supporting the channel. Peace to you, brother, in the chat. Appreciate you. So, Rush, your body needs to hurry up and do a rush and get up out of here. You will not be missed. At least not by us. Not by me. But they act as if we're supposed to be upset. It's amazing that PC and their co-colonizing cohorts want us to be upset about this, and we're not. We're not. They're going to... And you know what's going to be even interesting? You know how George Floyd's body was pretty much paraded around, even though I think they were doing a bit much with that? They're almost going to expect the same thing to happen with him. How much you want to bet that when he dies, they're going to be like, well, why couldn't Rush Limbaugh get a parade around the country the way George Floyd did? You already know they're going to do it. You said, didn't he mock Trayvon Martin in death? He probably did. Look at the quotes I read. I wouldn't be surprised. Let the maggots feast on his flesh when the time comes, and maybe they can mourn him. But don't worry. Just on his statement alone, basically saying that the cancer is like really, really getting to him now. When they start saying that, time is only, at this moment, it's only a matter of time. How much you want to bet he's trying to stay alive long enough to see what the results of this election is? What's going on, Vulcan? That's probably what he's waiting on. He's probably waiting on to see if 45 will get reelected. But anyway, let me move on to this next one. Now, this next one, I never thought I would talk about this on my channel, but when I saw it on my Twitter feed, I said I had to address this. So, y'all see on the screen, and if y'all look at the title, you see where I'm going with this, or maybe you don't. But this one's really geared towards the women, black women in particular. Now, on the screen, it says, bi people do exist, or bi people exist. So this section is called, quote unquote, BiPhobia. So as we all know, a quote unquote bisexual person is someone who swings both ways. They like they like the opposite gender and they like the same gender. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, and I'm glad that I held on to this link, because if I didn't, I would not have been able to find it, especially since this link was posted on the 15th, which was what, last week? Last week, I believe. In case y'all don't know, the agenda is now coming after black women. As you all know, the agenda stayed coming after black men. I've done countless videos talking about it. Many people have responded to it and all types of things. But now it's coming after women. As a matter of fact, it's been coming after women because the Hall T in the academy were basically trying to tell people that they are not, that they are actual women, and telling black women that they need to uplift them or protect them and all this other stuff and whatever. But now now you have another element to this, and you have members of Hall B, mainly the men, are questioning why straight women have an issue with bisexual men. And salute to everybody who haven't said it, what's up to. Make sure y'all hit that like, share this stream, and donate. The funniest response I saw from a woman had to be, "I don't want no doo-doo on my cuckoo." When I saw that, I laughed so hard. I let out this big burst of laughter. Because it was so funny. So I'm going to read to you some of these tweets. And the tweet pretty much went viral because it got a lot of responses. This person said, "What do straight women have against bi men? I really want to know." And then ironically, the person had to put up a gif of clown Mala Harris. So he says, "It's always, I wouldn't date one, but I never hear any valid reasons as to why not." Like, this person genuinely wants to know why straight women don't mess with bisexual men. They said, "I saw one of my moot post a poll, and majority of the votes were no. They wouldn't date an openly bi man. If you voted no, why? Now, not trying to argue either. I just want to know why." It says, "You don't have to date bi men, but it's important to unpack why straight women really have an issue with bi men." Like, this guy's really trying his hardest to figure out why heterosexual women do not want to mess with a bisexual man. I can think of one, because they only want to be with a man who wants to be with them, not one who's going to be with them one weekend and then in the next weekend they're with another man. Is that enough? It's crazy enough that you already have women who don't like sharing a man with another woman. Now you want to be the guy who she has to share with another man. Look, if you can find someone who's understanding of your lifestyle, then go ahead and do that. But to me, it sounds like they're struggling in that category. Let's see here. I'm going to read some of these responses, and because I really want to read the women's responses. "Everyone has preferences. Women who prefer not to date men that is attracted to other men does not make them homophobic. And honestly, I don't see why this angers bisexual men so much. There's plenty of women that will be okay with it." That's what I basically just said. It's women out there that wouldn't mind doing that. It says, "Go be with them. It's really that simple." Let's see here. Where else can I go with this? This says, "I already know that anyone can get HIV, STDs from sex, but I don't want to heighten those chances with someone who may have multiple partners, especially with the opposite. I also don't want bum remnants in my lady parts." They said, "Okay, let me make it clear. Based on my own experiences, I would not prefer to be with a Hall B man, because cleanliness has been an issue. I'm not saying all bi men are dirty or straight men are spotless. If y'all knew, you know I'm an adamant supporter of the academy and muting. So even you have a woman right there that says she supports the academy, and even she says that she couldn't date a guy who lives that lifestyle. Now here's one right here that had to go against the grain. She says, I would date a bi man. I think a lot of other women, it's their homophobia and their own insecurities showing. They say things, I don't want to picture him with another man, but it's likes, so it's okay to picture them with another woman, or they're more likely to cheat. That's that psychological babble right there. She's basically trying to say, well, if you're with a man that would cheat with another woman, then why are you upset if you're with a man who cheats with another man? I'm almost certain it's a different dynamic. Besides, either way, I'm almost certain that the woman would still be pissed. They're making it seem like if a guy cheats on a woman with another woman, she won't be upset. That's basically what they're saying, or trying to say. Exactly. BJ, she sounds dumb. This other person says, not interested in bi men, higher chances of AIDS, HIV. Y'all don't really have a good reputation and too much drama. I can almost imagine what they said in her mentions after she said that. This one says, because we like straight men, that's the sole reason. They says, now a response has come through from the guy who made the original post to that one I just read. He says, okay, but what doesn't a bi man have that a straight man has? Let me read these comments. I'm curious of what the responses are. And this this one girl said, not being straight, LOL, when he asked that question. Then this person says, you do know that bi men are still attracted to women, right? Let's see what else they're talking about. I'm not going to stay on this too long because there's a lot of response, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention because I needed the ladies to hear this. They says, okay, but what is the problem with being attracted to hetero men? Like, why is that such a problem? It says you could go through your life dating plenty of guys. A good amount of them might not be heterosexuals. You would never know. That is unless you ask them before dating or getting with them. If they came out to you that they are actually bisexual, your attraction suddenly stops. Why? They said, I never said any of that. I'm just confused as to why it's a problem. Women want a straight man. If he happens to be bi, then whether the woman wants to stay or not is her decision. Why is that a big deal? I'm only going to read a couple more. And this person, I think, who's in the academy, just based on what they said, and what does the fact of them being straight bring to the relationship? How does it add to the attraction objectively? And what specifically is unattractive about a man being bi? I guarantee you the only answer to this is homophobia. Are y'all seeing? Oh, a shout out to Noam King. He says bi, gay, trans always tend to forget that the fact that they love making passes as straight men, even though we let them know they're heterosexual. Exactly. But see, there's a reason why I kept reading these comments. To the women, now the agenda is now pouring onto you the same way they tried to pour it onto us. And what's unfortunate is for years they've hidden behind you or under your skirt for protection. Now they feel like they're really expressing themselves. And they use you as a vessel in order to do it. Like they're basically trying to say, well, if a straight man can be attracted to you, then why can't a bi man be attracted to you too? I said probably because in the back of their head, they don't want the thought of you messing around with another man, and they're not with that. So just respect their decisions. But it was a trick bag question. When he asked, let me go back. When he says, what do straight women have against bi men? I really want to know. He did that so he could have a reason to come back, him and his little cronies, to come back and use, oh, y'all are being biphobic. That was the goal. For him to come back and say you're biphobic. But that's not biphobic. I swear, these individuals don't know the definition of the word phobia. Phobia means to be scared of you or scared of something. Last I checked. Not to disagree with a lifestyle. And that's what they're saying. They're saying they disagree with the lifestyle and they couldn't see themselves being with you. But they're trying to make it where if you don't find them attractive, then you're this and that phobic. The same thing that they have been known to do when it comes to heterosexual black men. Let me move on to the next topic. And that is Cardi B and Offset. I don't plan on staying on this topic too long, but it's something I've talked about, especially when it pertains to her, for a while now. So, in case y'all did not know, I think they said Cardi B and Offset are now back together after this alleged divorce. Listen, I didn't follow it whatsoever. But Willie D recently did a video where he talked about this tweet that Cardi B put out there where she basically admitted that she was the one doing the abusing in the relationship. I appreciate you, Akira. I didn't even see the super chat. He says, these double standards are tiresome and it further makes me opt out of dating and fornication together. Right. But she basically put out a tweet admitting that she does the abusing in a relationship. Basically, she is hitting him and all types of stuff, just domestic abuse behavior. And then she ended up deleting it. But the internet is undefeated and they got a hold of it and whatnot. The reason why I'm talking about this is because Cardi B over the last year has displayed behavior in which some or most should say would be considered toxic femininity, because she has been known to do things with other men that could potentially put their lives in danger, and she never gets called out for it. As a matter of fact, they actually cape for her so much. Like when she did that Instagram video talking about how she would drug men that she met at the strip club and then take them back to the room and do unspeakable acts with them while they were under the influence. But then they came out and caped for her and saying things from, she was just joking, or, and of course they had to throw it back on the men. Well, they knew what they paid for. I'm almost certain they didn't pay to get drugged and taken back to a room where things happened. I'm going to just leave it at that. But then when this came out, people still caped for her and still said, well, Offset was probably hitting her too. This is why we keep calling this thing a gynocracy. People keep asking me why I call it that. This is one of several reasons as to why that is. Rarely do women ever truly get called out when they are the abuser in a relationship, because they've been put into a capsule that perpetuates them as the victim. And shout out to C-Truth the Revelator. He says they deserve each other. Truth be told, you're probably right. I can't see them being with anyone else, honestly. He might have a chance, but her, I'm not so sure. But this is why we keep calling it a gynocracy, because of the stuff that she's getting away with that should have been brought her up on some kind of charges or at least an investigation. Shout out to King. He says Cardi B called off the divorce because her accountant let her ask no, she would lose more money from it than him. He's only worth 15 million and she's worth 24. Well, there you go. So it's it's more of a business deal. And the crazy thing about it is Cardi B, while she is not black, I wish they would stop saying that, she is married to a black man. So this adds on the other dynamic that when black men are being abused by their partners or their spouses, they don't get any help. Most don't even say anything because of fear that they'll get clowned, that they'll get talked about, they'll get teased, they'll get bullied. Like, how you gonna let this little shrimp hit on you? It didn't say that she just had to hit him with her hands. There's objects that aren't nailed to the table or to the floor that she could hit with. As a matter of fact, a Strag Tales video that I have coming up in a couple days is going to prove just that. And y'all better hold on to your seat when I present it to you, because, man, and shout out to Alana Trotman. I don't know if she's in the chat, but she's the one that sent it to me. And if she is, please don't spoil it. Do not give them any detail about this story that I'm about to bring to you, because it's that bad. And it deals with a woman abusing her boyfriend. And that's putting it lightly. But like I said, it goes back to the dynamic, like I said, that when black men are being abused, no matter who they're with, it doesn't have to necessarily be her. It could be anybody, that no one rallies to their call. I hate to use this as an example, but I'll use it anyway. Look at Terry Loose Screws Cruz, when he said he got touched by that guy and people clowned him for it. Now that's as far as my empathy goes with him. After that is fuck him, because we already know what type of person he is. But like I said, when black men are abused, it never gets talked about, or it never gets taken seriously. Hell, even when black boys get abused or go missing. I can't remember the last time I got an Amber Alert for a black boy going missing, but I keep hearing about them going missing. Appreciate you, K-Ba. He says, this is why creepy Jim Crow and Cardi B are the same. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Now let's move on to the Jigaboon, known as Daniel Cameron. Oh my God. Okay. This is going to be a pretty loaded topic right here. This is going to be an interesting topic, to the point where I'm going to have to go and pull up my internet on my phone, just so I don't miss anything, because I'm trying to get it all out in the open. So one of the first things that we had heard involving the court-gestured coon known as Daniel Cameron, and you'll see why you see that on your screen in a second. I'm gonna play that for y'all at the end of this portion of the video, of this portion of the stream. So Daniel Cameron, it got discovered that he was stealing evidence from the Breonna Taylor case, after they pretty much announced that they were going to be able to put it out there. And then he came back and decided to want to seal that evidence. Well, that was very short-lived, because guess what happened after that? The judge in the case allowed the juror, the one that came out and pretty much kicked all this dust up, allowed the juror to come out and spill all the beans. Pandora's box is about to be busted wide open. And there is nowhere he can really go. His time is almost up. Let me go ahead. I want to read this article. It says, a Kentucky grand jury was not asked to... and here's another part. I'm glad I'm reading this. A Kentucky grand jury was not asked to consider any charges directly linked to the fatal police shooting of Breonna Taylor inside of her home. One of the anonymous grand jurors said in a statement Tuesday, instead, the grand jury was only asked to consider 3 wanton endangerment charges against former Louisville police detective Brett Hankinson, who fired his gun into a neighboring apartment during the March 13th incident. According to the statement released by the anonymous grand jury's attorney. The grand jury was not presented any charges other than the 3 wanton endangerment charges against Detective Hankinson. Questions were asked about additional charges, and the grand jury was told there would be none because the prosecutors didn't feel they could make them stick. So that's one part of it. So it just got revealed that they did not even attempt to put any type of charges involved with her murder there. It's almost as if she wasn't murdered, but we should not be surprised because if y'all remember a few months back when they came out with the report, like the investigative report, they said it was blank. They said all that was on there was her name, maybe her address, like personal information about her, but nothing about the shooting. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was one of the first people to bring the court-gestured coon known as Daniel Cameron to people's attention in this space. When I first learned about him, I said, I gotta put his ass on blast. It says only Hankinson was charged on September 23rd after the grand jury indictment on the 3 charges was announced. Attorneys representing Breonna Taylor's family blasted Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron Tuesday, calling his decision a despicable miscarriage of justice. We now know what we expected or suspected. Attorney General Daniel Cameron took the decision out of the jury's hands. The statement added, he didn't allow the grand jury to do what the law says they have the right to do. See, now you see why he wanted to go and get that security. Like this guy's just asking for it. He is asking for all the smoke. The family's attorney called for the appointment of a new independent prosecutor to review the case and do the work A.G. Cameron failed to do. It is a despicable miscarriage of justice that is disrespectful of the life of Breonna Taylor that A.G. Cameron whitewashed what his office presented to the grand jury, they said. This failure rests squarely on the shoulders of Daniel Cameron. After the announcement of charges in September, Cameron said the grand jury had decided no officer would be charged for Taylor's death, saying the 2 officers who had shot her, John Mattingly and Miles Cosgrove, and by the way, that John Mattingly, he's another one, he's getting on my goddamn nerves too, going around doing all these interviews and trying to rack up all this money and all this attention, which by the way, I actually found out before I started this stream on Professor Black Truth's page on his Twitter page, that now it's seeming to me that this John Mattingly, if I got the right one correctly, I think he was the one that got shot in the leg. It looks like he's about to start throwing them under the bus. Were found to have been justified in firing their weapons by state investigators because Taylor's boyfriend had fired his gun first. Taylor and her boyfriend Kenneth Walker were asleep when police rammed their door open. One of the 3 officers involved in her death said he saw the couple standing beside one another at the end of a corridor with Walker holding his gun drawn. Walker shot one of the officers in the leg, later telling authorities he believed their apartment was being broken into. The police responded by firing about 20 rounds, hitting Taylor at least 6 times. According to Kentucky law, the use of force by Mattingly and Cosgrove was justified to protect themselves, Cameron said at the time. This justification bars us from pursuing criminal charges in Breonna Taylor's death. But according to the anonymous grand juror, the juror was not asked to consider that portion of the case or told about self-defense or justification. Shout out to you, Known King, for the super chat. He says, I'm with Judge Mathis. These grand juries need to be eliminated. They hold their hearings in secret without the presence of a judge or defense attorney. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. The grand jury did not agree that certain actions were justified. And maybe this, you know what? Maybe this will be the case that kicks that off. Maybe this will be the one. Because now you're seeing the corruptness, the corruption that comes from this. It says, the grand jury did not agree that certain actions were justified, nor did it decide the indictment should be the only charges in the Breonna Taylor case, the juror wrote. The grand jury was not given the opportunity to deliberate on those charges and deliberate only on what was presented to them. So it was basically like a rush. Like this guy was rushing them to come out and say that there was nothing there and we're only going to get one person on wanton endangerment, not even the other three, and that'll be it. The state's attorney office did not respond to questions regarding the grand juror's account, but in a statement defended the decision to seek only charges against Hankinson. As a special prosecutor, it was my decision to ask for an indictment on charges that could be proven under Kentucky law, Cameron said in a statement to BuzzFeed News. Indictment obtained in the absence of sufficient proof under the law do not stand up and are not fundamentally fair to anyone. I remain confident in our presentation to the grand jury, and I stand by the team of lawyers and investigators who have dedicated months of work to this case. The decision not to file charges against the two officers outraged protesters across the country, sparking another wave of demonstrations. After the announcement, one of the grand jurors sought a court order to allow them to speak publicly about the case, saying through an attorney they were looking to address mischaracterizations laid upon the public. On Tuesday, Jefferson Circuit Court Judge Annie O'Connell ruled the juror would be allowed to speak about what are normally secret proceedings. That's what makes this interesting, because this is a rare instance. They never let people who are attached to a grand jury speak about what was discussed in them rooms. That's why I said he better start packing his shit. He is about to be out of the big house. He can't come over here. He gonna have to go and see if he can find a place over there or be a nomad or something. They said they're calling it a rare and extraordinary example of a case where at the time this motion is made, the historical reasons for preserving grand jury secrecy are null. Cameron had filed a motion seeking to keep the anonymous grand juror from speaking out publicly. On Tuesday, he said his office did not agree with the judge's decision allowing the grand juror to speak about the case, but said his office would not appeal the decision. That might be best, you court-gestured coon. That might be the best thing to do. Because if you appeal, then it makes us see that you have even more to hide. So you might as well just let everything just fall right on out. If you had did the right thing, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. The judge's decision came after recordings of the grand jury were published and after the body cam footage released by the Louisville Police Department showed officers left her body unattended for several minutes after being shot. I cannot speak for other jurors, but I can help the truth be told, the juror wrote. Only a matter of time, y'all. Only a matter of time. But I have to give a shout out to one of my subscribers and followers on Twitter, and I don't know if she's in the chat. She tagged me in this video featuring the court jester coon, CJC, where he was talking to somebody, and, well, I'll let y'all hear it. Hold on. So y'all just heard him. It was a short clip. I've never heard the man talk, honestly. Shout out to K-Bye. He said he can seek refuge at Supercuts. And he will. It was a picture that I saw where he was at Supercuts. And he was getting his hair cut at Supercuts by a white woman. Go figure. But I want someone to type in the chat. What did you notice in that short clip besides his lack of blackness and lack of bass in his voice? What was missing? Y'all said y'all couldn't hear it. Well, I'll put it to you this way. He didn't say anything important. So, but just by looking at the video, what did you notice was missing? Just by looking at that. I want to see if somebody's going to notice this. Because it's something that I've talked about in a video relating to him earlier this week. No, not the clean shaven. That's a given. That's a given. We know it's not the fact that he has no facial hair. We know that. We can see that. I said something that was missing. And to tell what was missing, you didn't have to hear anything. But I'm trying to see if somebody in the chat is going to notice something that was missing. Someone said seriousness in his tone. He had none. And one thing I noticed is how much he kept smiling the entire time he talked. He kept smiling the entire time he talked. Someone said a black wife, a soul lifts his wife. He got self-hate, a good haircut. Okay, I don't think anybody's going to figure this out. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. The thing I noticed that was missing in this video was that $300,000 security, armed security that he claimed he has. Remember he said he was going to get some armed security that was going to be everywhere he is? Where are they? That video was just posted. When was this video posted? October 23rd, today. He's missing the security that he claims that he has. Remember I did a video about that when he said he was going that he had this armed security that was like costing like $300,000 that I'm sure the taxpayers are probably going to pay for. That wasn't present. He literally is an open target just standing in that video, in that clip, talking to that reporter or whoever he was talking to. Yep, after he got all those death threats. Like I said, his time is winding down. Like I said, he's going to have to live in a perpetual state of fear for the rest of his life. And he brought it on himself. So it is what it is. Oh, well. But now I want to go on to the next topic. Y'all for him. Now, this one, I wouldn't be surprised if y'all didn't know about this. Because it was only one person I saw do a video concerning this topic. And that was Seji Hito. And shout out to him, by the way. Involving this man by the name of Tova Keblish. I think that's his name. Tova Keblish. Well, it looks like they're keeping their word when it comes to this opioid thing. And I'm actually shocked considering they love to go after black men whenever they're the ones distributing. Excuse me. So this guy's in Utah and he was the leader of a dark web opioid drug ring. And he just got a life sentence for the role he played. When I heard this, I said, oh, I definitely will be throwing this into the list for the live stream this week. I'm going to go ahead and read the article. This will be my first time reading it, so this is all still fresh to me. A suburban millennial, why do they have to say it like that? Convicted of becoming an online drug kingpin was sent to prison for life Thursday, but not before he was confronted by a grieving mother. Tova Keblish said her son thought he was buying painkillers online to cope with his agony after leg surgery. Instead, authorities say the pills were fake pressed in the suburban Salt Lake City basement where Aaron Shamo built a multi-million-dollar drug ring with little more than a computer and some friends. The pills contained the opioid fentanyl, a drug that authorities say can be deadly with just a few flakes. Gavin Keblish of Long Island, New York, died soon after buying them, leaving his family to mourn his big hugs and loud laugh that she testified. Your customers were not just numbers, not just emails. They were people behind them, Tova Keblish said. You have denied my son the right to live. You know what? I got this part wrong. His name isn't Tova Keblish. His name is Aaron Shamo. I don't know why I put her name. The Tova Keblish is the woman, is the mother of the one who died from the overdose. So minor correction. Shamo, age 30. He's 30. To those of you wondering, he's 30. Was convicted in federal court last year of shipping hundreds of thousands of fake prescription drugs all over the country, helping fuel the nation's opioid plague. The case offered a glimpse at how a small group of people can easily buy fentanyl from China, press it into fake pills, and ship it to customers in every state through the U.S. mail. The 2016 bust at Shamo's home ranked among the largest in the country, with more than $1 million stuffed in his sock drawer. A clean-cut millennial who grew up in a family that belonged to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Shamo, said the operation started small with text messages and smiley face emojis sent to friends from his job at eBay, but quickly grew out of control. Shamo referred to himself as a white-collar drug dealer and pumped himself up with notes like "I am awesome." As he expanded the operation according to trial evidence, he sold through a storefront called Pharma Master on the dark web, a wild, unregulated layer of the internet reached through a special browser. At times, he even convinced himself he was helping people who said they couldn't get painkillers from their doctors as authorities tried to rein in opioid use in the U.S. I didn't know the dangers of what we were doing, Shamo said Thursday. Together, we created a monster. Shamo was found guilty of a dozen federal counts in August 2019, including one for running a criminal enterprise that carries a mandatory sentence of life in prison. Authorities have said the pills were linked to dozens of overdose deaths, though charges were only filed in one, and the jury deadlocked on that count. Still, the families of people who died after online records show they brought pills from Shamo watched the case closely. Gavin Keblish's family flew across the country to watch his trial in person. You want to know what's interesting? They did not mention yet how many people he could have wiped out. You know, whenever they catch a black person distributing this particular drug, they always say this thing could have wiped out millions. They didn't say that with him, even though he just got a life sentence. I just thought I should point that out. Defense attorneys didn't deny Shamo was selling drugs, but they also argued a life sentence was too harsh for a first-time offender who worked with others. He was a people pleaser who couldn't have put the operation together without a few key friends, his lawyer Greg Skordas has said. Several of those friends are expected to get lighter sentences after striking plea deals and testifying against him. Sometimes it's all like who you know that will throw you under the bus. His little friends threw his ass right under that bus so they wouldn't have to go to jail as long as he did. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Utah is the Mormon state. Man, don't be sleeping on them just because they live a certain lifestyle. Even though, to me, it's a bit of a out there lifestyle to me. But that's just how I feel about it. But I've never seen, the reason why this story stuck out to me is because I've never seen an incident like this where the person actually gets a life sentence for this. I mean, I've heard the stories where they've distributed and they gotten some jail time, but I've never seen them get a life sentence. But you got to think of the way that this guy was distributing the drugs. He wasn't doing it the standard way. He was doing it through the dark web. So it was able to travel faster. And when he was distributing through the dark web, it could travel more further and more widespread outside of Utah. Like this guy, the way that they said he was moving, he probably could have damn near had bodies in every state. So now that I put it together like that, I can see why they gave him a life sentence. Oh, the life sentence is definitely going to stick. I didn't read anything in the article that stated he was going to appeal. So, hey, it is what it is. Now I'll move on to the last story of the day. And that's this blame black men hashtag that pretty much went viral on Twitter. And it did the day that it was created. It was the number one trending topic in the world on Twitter the other day. And it basically all stemmed from that post that Jemele Hill made about black men. The one when I had went in on her, what was it, last night? And shout out to everybody who tuned in and watched that premiere video last night. But let me read it. People are using the hashtag blame black men satirically in a response to a tweet from Jemele Hill about some black men perpetuating the patriarchy, quote unquote. Blame black men, the hashtag blame black men, satirically responds to a tweet from Jemele Hill about some black men perpetuating the patriarchy. Shout out to you, Dyson. He says, look how they're trying to decriminalize him. Oh, you're talking about the previous story. They usually always do, but it doesn't take away the fact of what he did. I'm not even gonna lie. I actually did engage with that hashtag maybe on one tweet. I said hashtag blame black men. We are the masterminds behind the Watergate scandal. And before I go in some more about Jemele Hill and this whole blame black men thing, I have to give a shout out to Professor Black Truth. He did a video essay last night where it was one part where he was talking about Jemele Hill that absolutely had me cracking up harder than I should have. So if y'all didn't see it, it was a part in there where he got to talking about Jemele Hill, and he showed that picture that I showed on mine where Rob Gronkowski was grinding up on her when she was saying back that thing up, and how she was smiling, showing all 32 teeth. He says, he was basically saying in so many words, and I can't, I'm just paraphrasing. He says, is Jemele Hill even human? Because the only thing I know that can get their mouth open that wide is a reptile. I laughed so hard when he said that. And when I had posted up on Twitter, people was cracking up. They said, I wonder what kind of reptile was it, like an alligator or was it a anaconda? I was cracking up when he said that. Listen, I might go back and replay that part a couple of times because that was so funny. One thing I like about Professor Black Truth's commentary is he will throw some jabs and haymakers in there without the intent of being funny, and I think that's what makes it even more funny because he says it in such a serious tone. Me, on the other hand, I'm saying it to be funny, but also me throwing a jab at the same time. But when he said that part about her, I laughed so hard. That was too funny. That was real clever. But you know, it's funny because he has like nicknames and stuff for a lot of people. But yeah, so basically black men pretty much came up with the hashtag and they was throwing out all kinds of tweets. I can't remember every last tweet because it was so many. I can only remember the one that I put up there. And it was basically to come back at her for putting that out there. And here's the thing. In case y'all didn't know, Jemele Hill is married to a black man. I almost want to go to this man and get a pocket watch and dangle it in front of his face and swing it back and forth like a pendulum and say, snap out of it. Or ask him if he's okay. Blink once for yes, blink twice for no. Do I need to get a teacup? Or no. Do I need to get a camera and flash it in your face? Because he has to be in a sunken place somewhere if he is, as a black man, is laid up with this woman, or as I like to call her, hard face, or the braided boomerang, while she gets on Twitter and spouts all this nonsense about black men every chance she gets. And like I said in my video, we were the ones that came to her defense when she had made those comments about 45 a few years ago when she was on ESPN when they was kicking her ass off of it. And then she, when Damon Young put out that post from the Root talking about heterosexual black men are the white men of the community, and she co-signed it. She retweeted it and co-signed it. Then that's when we started to go in on her, but she used that as a point. So when we went in on her, then she could play victim and try to say, oh, black men are this, a black men are that. No one's fooled by her. Shout out to you, Noam King. He says, nah, TR, you need that teacup. But yeah, she's a lost cause. Now that's someone who got their wake-up call at the hands of PC men, but wants to take out her aggressions on black men. Backwards thinking. You said, K-Bot said, Salmon says Pet Bison is also married to a black man. That's crazy, like how you have a lot of these individuals who go around here screaming black men are this and black men are that and all this type of things, but they married to a black man. Like, I just be wanting to know the black man that's in their lives, like what's going through your head while they're saying all this. Like, I be really wanting, I almost want to be a fly on the wall to see what is going on. Because it's no way in hell that I could be married to someone like that and they're talking ill. Or they could be one of those guys that their wives will tell them, oh, you're not that type of black man, so you have nothing to worry about. Just know when I'm talking about black men, I'm not talking about you. That's what they probably tell them as some kind of rest assurance, so they'll stay. I'm willing to bet that's probably what it is. But still, I couldn't do that because subconsciously I will still believe that you're talking about me. Super User says they love the gender war until it gets physical, right? Shout out to UC Truth the Revelator. He says that means her husband is a simp. Basically. In so many words. Because I remember I was watching TV and they were talking about, I think it was some kind of a special, and they were talking about black love and everything like that. And came up on the screen Jemele Hill, and at the time I believe they were engaged. And I was like, Jemele Hill is engaged to a black man? After all the shit she talked about black men? And she's with one? That caught me by surprise. But yeah, they created this hashtag. It wasn't made to down black men. It was, like I said, it was a satirical response. It was made to crack more so jokes in response to what she said. Because believe it or not, she probably hates that this hashtag came about for two reasons. One, because she was being serious with what she said, and then to take this hashtag and to flip it and turn it into comedy, now she probably feels defeated with what she said, which was the point. Most people who create or say things like what she said do not like being played a fool for. And that's what we did. Well, with that hashtag was make her look like an utter clown, even though she already did that enough already. She probably hates that. And then on top of that, this is an actual screenshot from the description from the explore page, well, not the explore page, the trending page on Twitter. So we didn't write that description up. That was written by whoever is over at Twitter dealing with the algorithm. They wrote that up. And it was probably a white man that did it. So she probably doesn't like that her name is attached to this either. But she brought it on herself. I swear this week was one of the worst weeks to come after black men. I mean, you had Roland Martin. You had that Alicia Gargle chick. You had Brittany Cooper, Jemele Hill. Those harpies at that so-called queen, whatever, was it Claudia Jordan, Vivica Fox, Selena Johnson, to an extent, Lisa Ray. All did one big swipe at black men this week. And mainly because of one black man, and that was Ice Cube. I was having a discussion about this last night on someone else's live stream, where it's amazing how you have Ice Cube come and present something and they get so upset. That's why I said I want y'all to go and watch that that live stream me and the one LVZ did, because it breaks it down. We went through pretty much the entire thing. You said a Mammy Seals, that's another lost cause right there. Now that's another woman. This is another reason why I said the gynocracy is a real thing, because what she did to Dr. Myron Rolle, remember that? She almost got that black man caught up in some shit. Luckily, he was able to clear his name before it escalated too far. And now he's off living his best life with his new wife. And a Mammy Seals is still single and alone and loud as ever. If I was Myron Rolle, I would probably be the one to prank her ass and says, I'm going to send you an invite to the wedding. You know, it won't be your wedding, but you can come as a guest. Because as far as we're concerned, I don't think a Mammy Seals will ever get married. Appreciate you, super user. He says the gynocracy is a failure. It is. Like when they was up there on that panel talking about, oh, why can't you do something specifically for black women so you see yourself separate from the pack? Ice Cube explained to them twice. Look, the plan is for black people. That includes you. You goofy. Oh, you said his doctor? Oh, I didn't know his wife was a doctor. Hey, even more power to him. Yeah, Claudia Jordan talking about up there. Well, wouldn't the plan is specifically for black women? And he told him that it was something there is for black people. And he even gave a suggestion. He said that if you wanted to contribute something to this, you can come in and we'll section something off for you, and you can write into the plan what you want specifically done for black women. When he said that, all of them, with the exception of Lisa Ray, all of them just raised up from harpy hell and just dumped on him. It's weird. If y'all haven't seen it, I just gave you, I gave you a summary of it, but you got to watch it for yourself. I'm telling you, it's going to piss you off. It's going to make you mad. It is really going to make you mad. It won't surprise many of you, but it's very embarrassing and disappointing more than anything. And meanwhile, the kicker is Ice Cube was the only one on that panel with a wife and a family for well over 20 years, probably damn near 30. And what did them other ones have? Some of them didn't have no family, or they had a family with no husband. or they've been hopping in and out of relationships and they can't keep a solid one to save their life. Meanwhile, this guy was with his wife for years. I think has like 3 children with her. But we're the weakest link. Shout out to Gnome King. He says, we saw it on Jay Lethal channel, TR. They're not trying to be included in the pack because they got their own agenda that doesn't include black men and kids. Exactly. And I think that's what makes it even more worse. They don't even include the kids. They just want it to be just them. They just want it to be just them. But like I said, if y'all haven't watched it, you can go watch it. I'll post the link again in the community tab. And you can go watch me and the 1LVZ break down that entire segment. Or, whatever. Appreciate you, Dyson. He says, shout out to the sisters in the comment section of the video who checked those females. Exactly. Because it is some black women out there that has some goddamn sense. That will put people like that in their place. Those women that you saw on that panel, those are the women that Shahrazad Ali and Dr. Frances Cress Welsing were talking about, which is why they don't like them either. That's why. That's who. Those are the type of women that Shahrazad Ali and Dr. Frances Cress Welsing talked about. But I'm about to get up out of here. I have nothing left to discuss today for this Friday. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, but I'm gonna probably, of course, remind you next week because you might forget. Next Friday I will not be doing a live stream, and shout out to Noma for the super chat. I will not be doing a live stream next Friday because I will be preoccupied that day around the time I usually do it. So there will be no live stream. So I'm going to treat that as a regular day. So instead of you getting a live stream on that Friday, I'm going to just upload the videos as if it was just Monday through Sunday, the other days. I'll put it that way. Yeah, Stephanie, you late. You're going to have to catch the playback. But shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who donated. I'm glad I'm using this format again. The transitions was nice. I'm gonna see if I can fix that volume. So if I have to play videos on my channel, that you will be able to hear it. But I feel like that's a minor fix that won't take much for me to get done. We was able to pretty much do this flawlessly regardless. No technical issues. But with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest